This is the emergency broadcast system. This is not a test. Repeat, this is not a test. Stay tuned for further instructions.
Well, folks, here we go. Had a little glitch there for a moment. It happens. First, my Pledge of Allegiance. My Pledge of Allegiance to the flag, to the United States. I'm sorry. What did I say there? What did I just do? Hey, guess what? Mark this off on your calendar. I messed up. I love it. I love when I do this. Here we go. Once again, I pledge of allegiance to the Constitution of the United States of America and to the republic for which the flag stands, one nation under Almighty God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I do want to give you folks a bit of a fact. We, the United States, are not a democracy. Anyone that uses the word democracy, I'm just going to have to say, comrade, and that should tell you everything. We are a republic. This republic is stated in the Declaration and the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. There is nothing about the word democracy. So let's get this straight right now, because I definitely had to get that off my shoulders. I'm going to have two guests come on tonight. It's amazing the people I meet. And I'm looking forward to this. But as always, here's your quote. With and through patience and understanding, we can all make gains through pains. With and through patience and understanding, we can all make gains through pains. This is one of my originals. I usually offer quotes from people, but I was inspired, believe it or not, by my guests that are going to be on in about another 10 minutes or so. And I wanted to share that with you. If it wasn't for them, I have to tell you, I wouldn't have had what it takes for which to make that happen. So, as always, I like to throw a little bit of a curve. If you are on Facebook, folks, there is a lady I've met. I haven't yet had the conversation. I'm waiting for it. I think it's going to happen. Her name is Julie Ringer. She's with a page. Her Facebook page is Under the Bus. I don't know why I found her or how I found her, but I've been reaching out and promoting my programs with her. And in typical Vinzent's brash, brazen, bold style, I like to say this. I make mistakes. Things are interpreted wrong. Who knows? All I know is, as rocky a beginning that Under the Bus, and believe me, I got ran over by it. In getting under the bus like that, I had a minute to tune it and fine tune. And in doing so, believe it or not, she actually deleted my account for a moment, accidentally. I like it. I'm thinking to myself, sure. It's okay, though. But this next piece I want to give to Julie. And the reason why I want to give it to her is because she commented something so simple on a post that I had actually commented that she had presented on, again, the Facebook page Under the Bus. So here we go. I hope you will enjoy this. One of my favorite pieces ever. So,
in the darkest chapter of German history, during a time when incited mobs threw stones into the windows of innocent shop owners, and women and children were cruelly humiliated in the open, Dietrich Bonhoeffer, a young pastor, began to speak publicly against the atrocities that the regime had produced. After years of trying to change people's minds, Dietrich Bonhoeffer came home one evening and his own father had to tell him that two men were waiting in his room to take him away. In prison, Bonhoeffer began to reflect on how his country of poets and thinkers had turned into a collective of cowards, crooks, and criminals. Eventually, he concluded that the root of the problem was not malice, but stupidity. In his famous Letters from Prison, Bonhoeffer argued that stupidity is a more dangerous enemy of the good than malice, because while one may protest against evil, it can be exposed and prevented by the use of force. Against stupidity, we are defenseless. Neither protests nor the use of force accomplish anything here. Reasons fall on deaf ears. Facts that contradict a stupid person's prejudgment simply need not be believed, and when they are irrefutable, they are just pushed aside as inconsequential, as incidental. In all this, the stupid person is self-satisfied and, being easily irritated, becomes dangerous by going on the attack. For that reason, greater caution is called for when dealing with a stupid person than with a malicious one. If we want to know how to get the better of stupidity, we must seek to understand its nature. This much is certain: stupidity is, in essence, not an intellectual defect, but a moral one. There are human beings who are remarkably agile intellectually, yet stupid, and others who are intellectually dull, yet anything but stupid. The impression one gains is not so much that stupidity is a congenital defect, but that under certain circumstances, people are made stupid, or rather, they allow this to happen to them. People who live in solitude manifest this defect less frequently than individuals in groups, and so it would seem that stupidity is perhaps less a psychological than a sociological problem. It becomes apparent that every strong upsurge of power, be it of a political or religious nature, infects a large part of humankind with stupidity, almost as if this is a sociological psychological law, where the power of the one needs the stupidity of the other. The process at work here is not that particular human capacities, such as intellect, suddenly fail. Instead, it seems that under the overwhelming impact of rising power, humans are deprived of their inner independence and, more or less consciously, give up an autonomous position. The fact that the stupid person is often stubborn must not blind us from the fact that he is not independent. In conversation with him, one virtually feels that one is dealing not at all with him as a person, but with slogans, catchwords, and the like that have taken possession of him. He is under a spell, blinded, misused, and is abused in his very being. Having thus become a mindless tool, the stupid person will also be capable of any evil, incapable of seeing that it is evil. Only an act of liberation, not instruction, can overcome stupidity. Here, we must come to terms with the fact that in most cases, a genuine internal liberation becomes possible only when external liberation has preceded it. Until then, we must abandon all attempts to convince the stupid person. Bonhoeffer died due to his involvement in a plot against Adolf Hitler at dawn on the 9th of April 1945 at Flossenburg concentration camp, just 2 weeks before soldiers from the United States liberated the camp. Action springs not from thought, but from a readiness for responsibility. The ultimate test of a moral society is the kind of world that it leaves to its children, Bonhoeffer once said. Check the description below to read Bonhoeffer's original text after 10 years. For more information about Bonhoeffer or to download this video without background music, go to sproutschools.com.
Sproutsschools.com. What I like about that is we think of vegetables. At least I did. How appropriate, because stupidity is something that's quite, oh, there we go. Come on. There we go. And you know, the thing is, Sprouts, we look at people, we say, you're pretty stupid. We could also turn around and say, you're a turnip. And then, of course, we also say to ourselves, well, I didn't fall off the turnip truck yesterday, so we call ourselves silly, stupid, you know, a sprout. So I always found this video quite amazing. And I do believe you should watch it at least 2 or 3 times to get the full concept and break for a moment. Break at the parts that you really have to learn from, particularly his last section, because the kids are our future, believe it or not, folks. Our educational system is upside down. For local news, before I bring my guests on, for local news, I'd like to read something to you real quick. Heath Gilbert and I met back on October 17th in 22. I listened to this man speak and I thought, he's speaking facts. He's speaking percentages. He's speaking truths, ratios, everything you could ever imagine when it came to the GPAs. That would be the grade point averages of children, which now they don't even use that. They use a totally different structure. Earlier this week, I actually came across a news article where it said a young man had a 5.0 average. That's like brilliant. That's like 100%. You just don't get that. But in this case here, he had to place a lawsuit, and this lawsuit was against the Cameron School District of Cameron, Missouri. The lawsuit now is officially settled, and everything now is public knowledge. Heath Gilbert will be providing, believe it or not, all the records and his statement soon on Cameron R1 School District Exposed. I had to reply this back. Because, Cameron, I think you need to hear this. Please let everyone know, Heath, you did not receive a penny. It didn't cost the taxpayers money to you. However, the Cameron School forked out nearly $80,000 of taxpayers' money to fight you in a court case that never should have gone that distance. You, Heath, are a hero, and the Cameron community owes you a huge thank you so very much for doing the correct thing. Superintendent Matt Robinson, I said this before, I'll say it again. You need to be ousted like yesterday. And by the way, folks, Matt Robinson actually received $17,000 additional to his salary just 6 months ago. Cameron, are you happy and delighted with that? Elections are coming around, and Cameron better pay attention. By the way, it's free. Get these knuckleheads out of office. Vote for Dan Landy. And a vote for Dan Landy is a vote for yourself and your children's well-being of education. I can't even begin to tell you how maybe I should just say it. How do I really feel? I feel the people of Cameron have, they've been taken advantage of, and the taxpayers of Missouri as well. I'm very, very blessed, and I'm going to tell you, it's not going to be a rumble. It's not going to be a free-for-all. It's not going to be a fight. But I've got 2 guests coming on, and I'm hoping that you'll warmly receive them. And boy, do they have a story. I'm not one to pick scabs unless, of course, you need to get a poison or infection out. Then you just pick it and bleed. But I am going to ask these gentlemen to do a little bit of, let's let's know how you guys met and how this all came about. So I'm going to bring Johnny on first. And
Hello, everybody.
Johnny, where are you out of?
I am in Eastern Pennsylvania, just outside of Allentown. Live out
Okay.
in kind of the woods-ish, if you will.
Okay.
I
And
refer to my
here's Quinn. Quinn, where are you out of?
Allentown, Pennsylvania.
So to think you guys are just about neighbors.
Just about.
Yeah, I mean, we have cars, so yeah. It doesn't.
Well,
It's not
he
3
has
days.
a car.
It's not 3 days of travel like it used to be.
Well, with electric cars, it could be.
So yeah, about that. I'm a car person. I'm going to acquire so many gas-powered pieces of junk, so I never have to worry about buying a new car ever again. My house looks like a redneck used car lot.
And what happens if they no longer make gas, if they continue on with this stupidity of stopping fossil fuels?
My cars are old enough that they are very easily converted to run on natural gas, which we can make, or hydrogen if I so choose, with a simple nitrous plate kit from summitracing.com.
So, folks, if you have any questions to ask about cars, you can find Sasha Busch, of course, on he's a blue collar weirdo. I love it. I go by Tardo every now and then, but you can reach him on Facebook. And so, Quinn, I think I'm going to let Quinn, if you don't mind. Quinn, would you be so kind as to tell me how you gentlemen met, or what was the issue between you guys?
Well, we actually didn't have an issue. It's that I had a personal issue, where life was seemingly crumbling down. I'm trying to promote my business, trying to make money off it. And not only that, but spread something that's outside color lives matter. Hence our t-shirts, human lives matter.
Yeah,
And
we're totally going steady with our matching shirts now, just so you know.
Yeah. Right on.
And for me, it's not just like, if it was just about making money, I could easily just get a job anywhere. But overall, my most biggest concern is it started with Black Lives Matter. It's and Blue Lives Matter. Then we had the other word that starts with a B, with the Spanish community. Boricua, is it how you pronounce it?
Boricua.
Boricua.
I did have a small stint of living in the hood, so I tried to educate myself while I was there. And yeah, it's like Quinn had said, everybody wants to get their own little group. And that's why we're having this conversation.
Oh yeah. And then what really set me off was Candace Owens and Kanye West with White Lives Matter. And here I'm thinking, here I am on the conservative side, and the one thing we want to do is end color division, end everything that separates us, and bring it united. And people are like, yay, Candace did this, yay, Kanye did that. And it's like, here I come with these t-shirts. I have about 300 of these made, and I'm thinking that the conservative side would want to, say human, because it steps outside another color. And besides that, I wanted to beat the rich people saying green lives matter, because they're made of money, so they want to have Green Lives Matter t-shirts to sell. Oh, but what about us rich people? Nah, just kidding there, but that probably would have happened. But then here's Johnny right here. He sees my posts about my rants, and then we started talking, and then we texted, and then we had like 2.5 hour phone call. and he actually came up with some good ideas, because I actually want to start a podcast on rumble.com using my platform. And he actually came up with a great idea, even better than anything I would have thought of myself. And that is for us to get together and do this, as him as an opposition and me. And then on top of that, we would find middle ground in most things. And then things that, that are not middle ground, like I'm totally 100% against abortion. And I don't know, Johnny, are you against abortion? Are you for choice?
So, for me, it's a more complicated scenario. So just like everything else that is political these days, we try and oversimplify something. So guns. Well, we have a problem with firearm related deaths in this country. So we're just gonna, what are we gonna do? Ban them. Okay. That's cool. That's like literally putting a band-aid over a gunshot wound, pun intended. And we're not looking for the underlying cause. We're not looking for anything deeper than that surface, that clickbait headline. And me personally, I'm not for abortion. But also in the same token, is it a necessary evil? Is it a bad marketing technique for a lot of the people that are running on that platform? Here in Pennsylvania, Doug Mastriano literally lost the election over his stance on abortion because he was not even willing to put in the caveat for rape, incest, threat of life to the mother. So, like,
and what is the percentage of those three things you just said? By the way, do you know?
For which one?
Just collectively speaking, rape, incest, death of a mother. Collectively speaking, all three. What is the actual percentage rate of that occurring for abortions?
Well, to quote any of the liberal people out there, if we could save just one life.
Okay.
No. I mean,
one moment, Johnny. It's okay, Johnny.
What it really comes down to is, from a marketing standpoint, if you're trying to get elected, you want to appeal to the most people. It's no different than running a business.
Let me help you, Johnny. Let me help you, if I may.
Do you have the stats? Please.
Yes, it's 1.67% of abortions due to rape, incest, and a mother's life is 1.67, which means they are using that low, which means which means that they are using abortion as a form of birth control at 98.33%. 98.33% of abortions, because a woman can easily do this. Close those legs. Men, don't go there. Take responsibility.
I'm actually on your guys' side with this, believe it or not. When I say it's not my decision to make, it's because I cannot birth a child. But at the same time, it's become so mainstream where, like you said, it's being used as birth control. The morning after pill. What is that? That is literally an abortion. And you take it with your morning coffee. Oops, I did something stupid last night. Look at me. No responsibility.
Yeah, but see, that's at least that's the right way of going about. You're trying to have to be responsible. So you've got birth control pills. You've got a shot you can have that lasts, I think, 4 to 5 years that will stop your eggs from ovulating, or at least to the point the eggs are not penetrable by the sperm. And I agree with you. I think men should stay out of that conversation. But I will say for myself, I was very blessed. I laid with a woman one night 34 years ago, and I found out literally 8 months ago that I have a son. And he's an incredible man. I lucked out big time. Yes, I lucked out big time. But technically speaking, the way they use abortion today, it is a form of birth control. And there are a lot of people out there. Yeah, there are a lot of people out there that can't have children that would love to have children. So,
bingo.
Yes, Sally, you said it very, very well. And Sally, by the way, Ruth, you said this very, very well. it takes two, and it did. In my case, it took two. So let me, continue on, Johnny, because I don't want to interrupt you anymore. But that's where I stand with it.
No. This is going to be a very, very wonderful evening. So, like you were saying, they're using it as a form of birth control, which I don't agree with. Honestly, comedian Bill Burr said it perfectly. I have all the ingredients to make a cake. It's in a pan, ready to go into the oven. Somebody comes along, smacks that pan onto the floor, no longer making a cake. Was it a cake or was it not a cake? And they'll make that argument. Well, it wasn't a cake yet, but the ingredients were there. And you stopped the process. And
like I said, personally, if you let the baby come to full term, you can always give that child an opportunity to have a life. Quinn, let's wrap this up. What do you think, brother?
About the abortion, I would stand 100% behind Doug Mastriano and every woman who, says life begins at conception, who fights against abortion. And believe it or not, there's an actual page on now most people will say, oh, it's just a religious thing. Oh, them darn Christians against abortions. Well, there's a literal page on Facebook, maybe more than one, that's called Pro-Life Atheists. And they are 100% pure science, no God whatsoever. So I actually look to that page more than the Christian side, even though I am a Christian, because I'm learning from a pure science point of view on the topic. So
Okay. So Johnny, I'm going to bounce back this one to you. Atheist. He brought up atheist. He brought up the word atheist. I knew this. Go ahead. Give us something.
So I'm not an atheist per se, by definition, at least. I think my biggest issue, and I apologize to anybody who may be offended by this. It's not meant to be that way. I personally am not a fan of religion. It does not mean that I do not believe in a higher power, because I don't care what the science says. Everything points to something bigger than us creating what we are today. So I'm sorry, I just refuse to believe that poof, the universe existed with no outside intervention. And unless somebody can come along and prove me wrong, they won't. That's where I'm at. So Quinn is an Old Testament person. He is the OG religion book. And that's one of the things I do respect about him is he's not taking all of these bastardized modern versions of things where, well, that's really not so good for our image. So we're going to change some words around, make us more marketable, make us more money. Because at the end, I personal experience, I've seen a church take advantage of somebody in a very bad spot. They took their money. And at the end of the day, that person still took their own life because you know what? They did not get the fulfillment that they were promised. Okay. I'm not trying to discourage anybody from it. Look, if it's for you and it works, absolutely do it. You know why? Because it's better than taking a drug to alter your chemicals in your brain. Like, I love to do things naturally. I'm on 0 medication. I should probably be on a lot. We'll find out on this episode. Maybe somebody in the comments will chime in and say, hey, you should totally take this. And I'll say, no, I'm good. I will continue with my diet beers and my diet cigarettes and my cats. And
okay, now, okay, Johnny, that's one thing I got to. First off, there's 3 of us from Pennsylvania. Johnny, you're like a rocket. You are way out there. I mean, you're just going, never nonstop. I mean, you're going to the moon and back.
I have
Quinn,
all the
Quinn, you're much more reserved. So I'm going to draw this right back to where we were talking about atheists. This is how I feel about atheists. An atheist will say, I do not believe in God. And I reply back, you must believe in God in order to not believe in God. And that shuts down the whole conversation. So let's go with this. I think I asked you guys both. In fact, you were the one that brought it up, by the way, the P's and Q's, Johnny. And I had asked both of you, watch your P's and Q's. You said, and I asked you, I said, what's the definition of that? So are you guys ready for watch your P's and Q's?
Oh, definitely. I want to learn something. That's why I'm here.
All right, here you go. Watch your pints and quarts. In the old English taverns, you just held up a beer. You want to watch how many you drink, and you also want the barkeeper to watch how much they pour, because that's how they made their money, in pints and quarts. So
I love the fact that it just kind of like reverts back to alcoholism, which is freaking awesome, especially for me.
Yeah. So guys, you had also mentioned, by the way, Johnny, which is a good topic. If you go to the common denominator page, folks, I'm sure you go scroll down, all kinds of interesting things to read. Guarantee you will learn something at any given time. And one of the recent ones, and you were talking about guns, you brought up the gun situation for a moment. I'm just going to say it like this. You've got 4 boxes today to check, folks. The soap box, of which the politicians stand on to speak from. You've got the ballot box. We all collectively vote, which I mentioned earlier, with the up-and-coming voting for the school board members of Cameron. I believe that's in March. And you've got the jury box, where people, of course, make that decision as to where your life is going to go one way or another. But the 4th box is, and I love it, the cartridge box. And we're very close to it, because right now we have a complete open border. How do you guys feel? Has it touched you guys at all, having the complete open border with illegal invading immigrants that are alien to this nation? And that, by the way, they're getting free food, they're getting free house, they're getting free medicine, they're getting free education. How do you guys feel about that?
Quinn, you go first.
I feel like I'm a slave for them. Like, here I am spending tax dollars and not getting what I'm supposed to be getting. Instead, it's going towards the people that are coming here illegally. And they're getting everything. In fact, they're probably eating better than most Americans. In fact, the fact that they're even getting housed more than our veterans that deserve everything. And on top of that, we're becoming so overcrowded that it's like New York. Like, I'm looking at New York City a whole lot through videos from Curtis Lewa, and it's starting to look like a third world country right there. And now here in Allentown, like, the homeless rate has never been so high. Like they always voted the blue, the Democrats, and their system none of it has ever worked, their policies. And what makes it hard to vote for anyone else is that, like, this last election, like the county of Lehigh, I could easily vote a Republican in, because there were Republicans on the ballot. But when it came to city elections, like for Allentown itself, all Democrat was named. So people
voting matters. Voting matters.
Yeah.
Voting matters. So, Johnny, what is your take on it? How do you view it?
You sure you want to open this floodgate?
Oh, I most certainly do. That's what this is about.
So, Greg Abbott and Ron DeSantis sending migrants to sanctuary cities, I feel, is the most petty and childish way of getting your point across. But it was also the most needed. I swear, this is literally coming from my brain. This is not written. I'm not reading off a cue card. Because everybody keeps saying, everybody's for something until they have to deal with it. So when you're dealing with something 2,000 miles away, you're not actually dealing with it. You're just advocating for it. Once it's on your doorstep, look at Martha's Vineyard, look at New York City, look at Chicago. We don't have anywhere to go with these people. We need more money. State of emergency, blah, blah, blah. It's anybody can go up there and pretend to be a good person. What was it? Elon Musk, he just said, he goes, bad people are trying to perceive, I'm paraphrasing, obviously. Bad people are doing good things only when the camera's on them. Like, good people do good things. Bad people do good things for publicity. And if you're an evil person, you're an evil person. So the whole immigration thing, I do feel our system is flawed. I do feel that we should do everything we can to bring the best people who want to come here and utilize America to build their best lives in a manner that's not going to be detrimental to us. And
So how do you
no, we just let everybody in. Like, we have
So-
locks on our doors for a reason. Are you gonna just let your neighbor in and raid your refrigerator? Frick, no,
Yep.
you're not going to do that. Because no, that's my house. Okay, well, this is my country. So you can be open borders. And what I absolutely abhor is everybody who is pro open border looks at anybody like yourself, myself, Quinn, as being racist or whatever ist you want to be that day. As like, no, we're not. We are not anti-immigration. We are not anti-immigrant. We are a nation of immigrants. Our country is the great experiment built on immigrants coming here and flourishing. But yet, all we do is just let everybody in. Like, okay, well, so tell me how's that not buying a vote?
Right.
Is
And
it-
that's
is it-
exactly what it is. It is buying the vote. But, the whole thing was this. Before this buffoon stole the election and was placed into the presidency, unfortunately,
That's
we had Title 42.
Hearsay.
That's not hearsay. Go on Common Denominator Network. You can look down.
Sarcasm.
Okay,
Sarcasm.
okay, got you. Okay, good.
Sarcasm. There's no
Good, because
way.
on the common denominator page, there, if you roll down, you actually will find a organization that did prove that the Dominion machines were in fact tampered through the internet in Frankfurt, Germany, and in Italy. But getting back to what we're talking about right here with the immigration, Title 42 was put in place. We had a catch and release, basically, right now. That's catch and release. It should be release and remain in Mexico. Take them back to Mexico. And the Mexican military actually was working with Donald Trump in keeping and making sure we did not have all these people coming across. Now we've got literally so many people coming across, 8 million in 3 years, 8 million, folks, 3 years, and from 140 plus different countries. And we've got over 2 million gotaways, and we've got fentanyl and sex trafficking of children, boys, girls, men, and women. And this is for the vote, is what you're saying, Johnny, the Democratic vote.
I don't understand why else they would be for it. Or are they allowing? I mean, granted, tinfoil hat.
Well, cheaper labor. Cheaper labor. You guys were talking about $22 an hour for instance for, I believe, a McDonald's worker.
Well,
if you could get them for $10 an hour.
Well, let's talk about the evil people here. Just so you know, I have dump trucks of sarcasm. So when I say something that doesn't coincide, it's sarcasm generally. So let's talk about the evil capitalists right now that own businesses and want to do their business for as little out-of-pocket expense for maximum profits. Don't you think that the capitalists would be absolutely for this influx of immigration, these undocumented people that don't have to pay taxes? So you can pay them $5 an hour, no taxes, and in their country, they're rich.
Yes.
Because all the money goes back to their home country anyway. So the fact that as a capitalist, I get told I'm anti-immigration. No.
They're not going to go, but they're not going to go back to the country. They shouldn't be here. I can't wait till Trump gets it back in office because they are going to be deported. ICE will be reinforced. And I'm sorry, what is your name? Okay, you weren't educated here. You're on the next banana boat home somewhere.
Do we need to break out a voice, my friend?
I kid you not. I kid you not. Some of the countries will not take the people back. Quinn, what is your thoughts on that?
Still on immigration, or
keep it sending them back home.
I would say if they came here illegally, yes, send them back, and then secure the border, and then wait until we solve our own problems with with the homelessness that we have with actual Americans, and and to be honest, it, um stop immigration for a short while. I mean, not to say they can't come and vacation, but just stop the immigration, for at least a year, just so we can get back to where we were when we were under Trump the first time. And then after we clean up our own mess, open up, not open but secure borders. Security, build a wall. Go for it.
And have entry points.
Yes.
And have entry points and have paperwork documentations to come across legally. All right, you guys, we're beating this one too much.
It goes back to two words: law and order.
Nope,
and we don't have order right now.
Well, what's funny to me is that the open border people who openly called Donald Trump a racist for enforcing laws about the border did not have the foresight to look back and see where those laws originated, which were under the previous administration. You know, that guy who was going to save us from racism and rich people and whatever else he hopes and dreamed about. Because you know what? Right now, I just hope my dollar buys me a freaking sandwich tomorrow.
Right. So now let's go with Bidenomics. How do you guys feel about Bidenomics there in Pennsylvania?
So this is how I think. Pretend I'm Biden.
No, let's not do that. Hang on.
Oh my goodness, I made $10 million. Bidenomics is working for me. Now it's time to tell the people that Bidenomics is working, even though it's not for them. That's what I think of it. He looked
and
at
Bidenomics to me is the. Are you guys even old enough to know what a money clip is?
I actually have one.
Do not.
Okay, Bidenomics. Right, and I'm going to take a guess. Bidenomics equals an empty money clip. Is yours full or is it empty?
I am fortunate enough to have a couple of bucks in the bank, but I'm by no means well off.
Right.
But again, past decisions led me to where I'm at now. It's one of those things where we have to look at okay, what do we have? Let's be happy for it. I don't waste money trying to appease people I don't know. So, because I'm not doing that aspect of life, which a lot of the younger generation is doing with their name brand bullshit, is I have a house. My car's paid for. I have a job that pays a, reasonable salary. But I'm feeling it. It's just the fact that, if you went back 20 years, when I first started in my career, the money I'm making now was unheard of. But yet, when you look at the national average, as far as what people are making and what's considered poverty level, I'm not far above it. I just had a string of good luck that was brought on by some bad luck, if you will. I went to the grocery store, I don't know, 2 weeks ago, and all I did was buy some snacks. Literally just some snacks that throw in the refrigerator. 2 bags, $72.
Wow.
Growing up, my mom used to feed a family of 4 for $90 a week. I have snacks.
That's a lot.
I have freaking snacks. She fed a family. And not, to sound, like the boomers, as these young kids like try to tell me. It's just kind of, it's kind of insulting to have somebody who's been breathing less time than I've been working as an adult tell me how lucky I have. It's like, no, you see at face value, you see somebody who has more. Like, well, no, I literally spent 20 years of my adult life working, not counting the jobs I had before I was able to vote.
Well, getting back, I'm glad you just said that because I just turned on the comments. Sorry, folks. I'm here, a single man on the boat right now, and I only have one oar, so I better get in a canoe. I need to get out of the boat. Easier to navigate a canoe. But Jerry Ristrand says, I'm an IT auditor, knowledgeable on computer security and skills. I have worked with Mike Lindell's supported group verifying 2020 voter registration with the actual voters at their residencies. And there were a lot of discrepancies noted. He goes on to say, believe it or not, there were multiple levels of voter fraud in 2020. So I think we're all singing the same tune here. And legal immigration has been reduced because we are allowing too many illegal aliens in our country. So if someone wants to come over to be, as you were talking, Quinn, a legal immigrant and come here and work on a visa, for instance, it's been reduced because now we've got all these illegals that are here over here entirely, illegally. And Build Better greased all of the corruption or the corrupt community organizations and special interests. The Build Better, of course, is Biden's Build Back Better program.
You mean build more expensive? Like I just recently ordered a pizza, a small pizza for the same price as I normally would get the normal, like a medium-sized pizza from the same store that I did for the last few months because they increased the prices of all their food in that little shop. So Build Back Better is more like Build Back fraud to me.
You mentioned something, Johnny, about you. Was it you or Quinn that mentioned something before the program about a burger and itemizing the burger itself? Can you elaborate, Johnny, on that?
Well, I mean, in any business, we have Quinn brought it up, and I've seen copies of receipts where you order a cheeseburger, okay, but you don't want the onions. Anyway, okay. Well, Quinn worked at McDonald's, so he's got the insider trading info. But I mean, you think about it. Everything you put into a product, it has a price. Mm-hmm. So he was giving us the insider stuff, so you don't see all those negatives. So you buy it, let's just say a double cheeseburger, or you know what, a double quarter pounder with cheese. Okay, you're taking off the bread, you're taking off the onions, you're taking off the cheese. So at the end of the day, all you have is 2 burger patties. So you would have the price. Let's just say it's whatever. I haven't $8. Yeah, it's probably higher than that, honestly. And, right. But then it's just negative. And that's the reason they don't want people seeing that. It's like, oh, you're actually charging me for this. They think it's all included. Well, it's no different than going to a resort in Jamaica or Aruba, those all-inclusive resorts. Like, yeah, everything's included, but you're paying for that. And they would not be losing money because that's not a sustainable business model. They're just hiding where they're making the money. And
gotcha.
Like I had said about the chicken nuggets. I used to go to Burger King, get 4 double cheeseburgers and 2 10-piece nuggets. That was my fat kid meal. And now they don't offer 10-piece nugget. Now it's twice the price, 2 less nuggets. And I'm sorry. Like I said pre-show, I'm a fat kid in here where it counts. Like, give me my freaking nuggets. Like, now I got to order 3 nuggets for triple the money. No, I'm sorry. I'm gonna sound like some unhinged Tucker Carlson guest right now, but unfortunately, that's where we're at. We need to be pushed to those extremes and use those extremes to make our points anymore because nobody listens. we're such a clickbait society. Like, you know, if you get 2 paragraphs into any article, which is why I love Quinn's site, because he keeps everything condensed. It's just here's the title, here's the information, have at it. But you go on Yahoo or CNN or even Fox, you got to get 3-4 paragraphs into it in this TikTok 15-second generation that we're living in, and nobody gets there to where the actual facts are.
A friend of mine and I were just talking today. He said to me, we were talking about TikTok, in fact, and I said the attention span, and correct me if I'm wrong or tell me if you think differently. This is my view of TikTok. The attention span of the average person on TikTok is 15 to 30 seconds. If it goes longer than 30 seconds, chances are they're just going to move on to something else. So if you try to give that particular individual who just looked at 15 minutes, get what I'm saying? 30 different, there's maybe 2 of them that they like. And let's just say I'm watching TikTok and I press, wow, I really like this Brillo pad. It was pretty funny. My email is suddenly going to start getting all kinds of ads for different types of Brillo pads and metal, pads, so on and so forth. So they are watching everything you do. And either you're aware of it or you're not. But the saddest part about it is, and again, this is where I want you to answer me if I'm wrong. I just think that the people that are watching TikTok are so dumbed down. They could never make it through a Dr. Zeus book at the age of 40.
So when it comes to TikTok or YouTube Shorts or Facebook or Instagram, all that real content that's now being pushed on us, a lot of the YouTube creators that I follow religiously have said, like, YouTube has reached out to them and said, you need to make shorts. Because now it's like, now I'm getting notifications from like long form content channels. And I'm like, so I come home, I turn on my TV, I got YouTube up. I'm like, where's the video? Go back to my phone. Oh, it's a short. I don't want a short. I want your typical 40-minute rant video that you're normally doing. And they're pushing that because they know the attention span of, at least here in the US, is gone.
Yes.
You know what? TikTok, Reels, any of that short form crap, it's literally good for one thing. While you're sitting down taking a crap.
Quinn, what's your take on it? We'll leave it with that, okay, Johnny? Johnny on the spot. Quinn, what's your take on that?
Well, Johnny, I have to say, what you said about my website was short, sweet, and to the simple point. You've actually encouraged my own writing because I've always wondered what people actually wanted to read. And I'm the same. And to be honest, I would read like long articles, and I won't even make it past halfway through at the most, because by then I'm like, I got the point.
Correct.
So
well,
thank you for that.
Actually, you had asked that question. I look, I pay attention. I may not react all the time, but I do pay attention. And you asked your followers what would they prefer, long form or short and to the point. Here's the facts, Dragnet style, just the facts, and that's it. No fluff, no personal intervention. Literally, this is what happened. Here's who said it. Here's my citation. Done. And so,
okay, you know what, guys? I'm going to end this one real quick. Ready for this? I'm about ready to kiss you both. Hey, folks watching, you're going to like this. I'm going to kiss both of you. It's called Keep It Simple. Keep it simply short. Keep it simply short. Kiss. And that's nice to do because we do need to pick up, we do need to sometimes narrow down things. But the instant gratification of our society is where it's rolling into. Everyone, like if you speak to someone on the phone, they say, oh, give me a second. I'll get that information for you. Number one, it's never a second. It's always going to be a moment. We have to start going back to enjoying the moment and realize that a person cannot instantly give us gratification. And I don't know about you guys, but personally, I like to take it slow, steady, and easy.
And
Relax and enjoy.
and there's also another quote that I used to hear a lot, especially back in the 1990s. Time is money.
There you go. And what are you going to end it with, Johnny?
Well, I mean, being in, my line of work, I mean, like Quinn said, time is money. And everybody wants to have that big stick, like, oh, I yelled at somebody to feel important. No, have respect for the people that you work with. I work with customers, I work with vendors, I work with insurance companies. We need to have this mutual respect for each other. Like, we all have a job to do. And it's me wasting your time does not make me feel better. It does not benefit me in any way, shape, or form. I look at it as the people that I interact with on a daily basis. Can I make your life better in even the simplest form? So, like for Quinn, I bought some shirts. Why? I support his cause. And me buying 4 t-shirts, it doesn't affect me financially. I get to wear a cool shirt and I get to support his cause. And like that was like, I just F it. I like it. I'm buying it. And in that process, I'm not supporting Walmart. I'm not supporting Targets. I'm not supporting Amazon. I'm supporting a grassroots person trying to gain a voice and, make a little bit of money off of it. Because you know what? I work 60 hours a week, like actually working 60 hours a week. I don't have time to come home and put my all into something. So you know what? Let him make some money so it can take some financial burden off of him so he can continue doing what he's doing. Like the whole point of this is we have disagreements, but he's not a bad person.
Right.
And he's very right on so many topics that buying a t-shirt, I'm wearing it. I need to wear a shirt, apparently,
Right.
So
well,
why not wear his?
Okay, so Quinn gave us time is money.
Well, that was for the topic that we were
right.
on.
That was time was money, and mine was kiss. Keep it simply short. And Johnny, we still haven't gotten it from you, but that's okay. I'm going to ask you guys this. The Biden administration is banning, believe it or not. When you drive underneath the underpasses, they've got the digital displays and they have the funny highway signs. You guys deal with that? Well, they are looking in 2 years of getting rid of those because they say it distracts drivers running or driving down the road. And yet the DOT in a lot of states have contests amongst themselves to say who can come up with the best one. And since I see Johnny busting at the jaws, ready to say something.
We're worried about distracted drivers texting and driving. Like, okay, so we're literally going to pull somebody over because they're effing texting.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've been good refraining my F-bombs. But has anybody looked at any modern car? The entire dashboard is a freaking TV screen. The entire dashboard. You don't have knobs to adjust your air conditioning anymore. You're touching buttons. You have to physically look, switch screens, touch a button to adjust the temperature. Meanwhile, I get in my base model piece of crap beater car. I know where everything is by muscle memory. Maybe it's the gun person in me, but like I like being able to drive, reach over without looking and taking my eyes off the road, adjust the temperature, adjust the fan speed, adjust where the air is coming out, turn the radio up or down. You don't have that anymore.
Sally.
Like we're literally putting screens in front of our face, but we're worried about people texting and driving. And no, you're worried about this. Yeah, distracted drivers is not a freaking problem. It's people.
What about you, Quinn? Do you think they should get rid of those little contests amongst the DOT guys that give these little laughable signs?
Oh wow! Because there's not signs all over the place that we're going to be reading no matter what.
There you go. You have all the billboards. Great. You guys cover them both.
Thank you.
Everything. You guys both get it. You guys each get a bucket of horse manure, and we're going to move on to try for two. But seriously,
we get two.
You guys hit it.
Billboard at my driveway. No, billboards are funny to me. So I love the don't text and drive billboards, but then at the bottom it says text 1234 for more information. When are they texting? They're texting in their Mercedes 80 miles an hour in a 50 because, I should totally not text and drive. I should text this number to get some more information about not texting and driving.
And the Godfather's here, folks. The Godfather's here. Better late than never. Okay, so something else I came across. I think you're going to like this, and I'm going to throw you under the bus. Julie, that's a good one. Thank you. Throw them under the bus. Anyway, the conflict among couples right now is couples who have opposing political views. Johnny, since I'm single and I have no woman in my home. Quinn, I know you're single. You have no woman in your home. Johnny, I'm going to throw this complete little piece to you. Co-viewing, I better put this up so I can read it properly. Co-viewing differing programs in the morning versus the afternoon. In other words, you watch different programs in the morning together or not. Then you can agree on one outlet to co-view together. And you can also, Johnny, consuming news independently. The fourth one will be secretly watching the program. And the fifth one is just avoid news. In your household, do you and your fiance have a difference of a political view at all, or are you guys of the like mind?
So for the most part, I'm the political one of the house. She is, for the most part, apolitical. She doesn't pay attention to it. It was kind of like the way she was raised. And in her words, if I need to know it, you'll tell me. I know that sounds terrible, especially if there's any feminists watching that, she only gets her news from me. But if, as this goes on, you guys are going to realize I'm a little bit all over the spectrum. I don't just consume one media outlet. Like I want to know things. Like I need to learn. It's honestly, it's one of the joys of having autism. Like you just need to consume. I'm going to show my age now. Anybody, if I say need input, get the reference? Because I'm Johnny freaking 5. I need input. I need to learn. So as far as like hiding what we watch, no. Watching things separately. So when we watch things separately, it's not news. Honestly, that's probably one of the few things we do consume together. Especially if there's a world event happening, something that needs to be seen. Yes, thank you. Short circuit. Absolutely. No disassemble. But we it works out well for us because again, I do not consider myself right wing. I don't consider myself left wing. I consider myself like, okay, here's the facts, what makes sense. We discuss it and we'll have conversations together. Like for example, she does a warehouse job. We don't do the typical morning evening couple thing because our schedules just don't coincide with each other. But I sat down, we talked. I said, do you feel you're being taken advantage of by your job? And she said, yeah. So then we had a conversation about it, and then it came down to, it's like, wait a minute, I voluntarily took this job. I'm not actually being taken advantage of. I'm being compensated well for what I'm doing. And it's actually not that terrible. So she's also in a group of people with her job that may or may not be bluish leaning. We're rednecks, man. She's got a Jeep. I got V8 muscle cars. Like that's our thing. So we just go to work, we do our jobs, and we try to talk about things, but we're not going to get all so consumed where we're going to have fights over politics, because apparently that's a thing now. I'm glad, because I read something this morning where Go on any social
are
media.
splitting-
Go on
couples
any
are-
social media app.
Couples are
And-
splitting up with politics. Couples
that's-
are in fact splitting.
I've been making mental notes since we agreed to do this together, and I read a post on Reddit this morning as I was having my morning coffee, and my partner's gonna vote for Ron DeSantis. Okay, cool, whatever. And it turns out that she doesn't like Ron DeSantis. He does. And in the comments section, like, these people obviously care about each other. And then the comments section, that's where the real life things happen.
Passion.
Oh, leave him. Oh, once a bigot, always a bigot. You don't need him in your life. Hashtag breakup, like all that dumb shit. Like, really? Because, I mean, granted, Quinn and I, we're voting for the same people. Because at the end of the day, no matter where my views fall, the people on the right, on paper, we're going to get into that later. On paper, support the majority of my viewpoints. So that's why I'm going to do that. The left, I mean, I'm sorry, I like money. I want to keep as much money as possible. And any portion of my life that's threatened by Republicans, well, guess what? They also support my Second Amendment rights. So kiss my ass, show up at my front door and, take my vote. But you fuck with me, I'm going to, use my constitutional rights to defend myself.
Well, thank you, by the way.
I just upset everybody there.
Quinn, what do you think about what he just said?
Well, okay, so in my experiences with talking to people, even though I'm a single guy, I still talk to people who disagree with me a lot, and even more so than Johnny. But in my discussions, we actually are able to keep it civil the whole time. If it's religiously or even politically. In fact, this last year, I went to the Allentown Fair and I always like to talk to the Muslims, even though I disagree with them. And the guy I was talking to, he said this: I like talking to you because you don't push. You're not so pushy like most Christians. And that to me says a lot when I can have discussions like that. Now, I know there's people out there that will utterly want to destroy me in the world, but thankfully, I never met any of them yet. So that's a good thing on my part. And I will say I do talk to Mindy Robinson, on her Facebook page a lot. Like, she knows my company, but I don't think she knows who owns it. But the one thing I love about her is she sees a lot of the political things like I do. And she's not like, and she's a libertarian in her politics, but she's not like most people that I ever got to talk to. She's not like libertarian needs to do this, libertarians need to do that, or she's not Republican this, Republican that. No, she'll hold you accountable as an individual, just like me. And from what I notice about all her posts.
Right on.
And that's the kind of guy I am. And let me tell you something. If Joe Biden was my grandpa or my father, I would be calling for a press conference urging Congress to impeach him.
You would be selling crayon drawings on napkins for $4 million. You know it.
No. I'm.
It's not a bribe if art is exchanged.
I grew up around it, corrupted people like Joe Biden in my growing up years, in my childhood. So, and I sworn to never be like any of them. I would never be lazy. I would never ask for money for doing nothing. I would never, you know, just be all around a bad person. It was my goal to totally not be like them. In fact, if half the people that I grew up with as legal guardians were in politics today, they would be just like Joe Biden,
I'm not
lazy
laughing at you. I'm
and to
laughing at
steal my
Gerald's comment.
money. So, and so yeah, that's my whole take on it. I don't care what party you're in. I'm going to hold you accountable as an individual. And when it comes to politics, about 99.9% of the people in politics need to go.
I
Well,
love
I'm
that
gonna.
you brought it up about them being held accountable. Obviously, we're focused more on like national level stuff or state level within our own states. Look at District 23 in Texas right now. Republican incumbent Tony Gonzalez is being challenged by a freaking YouTuber. And why is he being challenged by a YouTuber? Because he ran as a Republican, being pro gun. I mean, obviously, state of freaking Texas. If you're not pro gun, you're not getting elected. And what he did is he sided with Joe Biden's gun control laws. And this guy was like, so he's a gun manufacturer, he's a YouTuber. Again, he's a constitutionalist. He's probably more libertarian leaning than, a lot of people would like. He's just a long-haired, late 20s something guy. He said, you know what? It's time for me to put my money where my mouth is. So he's challenging him for his House seat in Washington, and he's doing well because you have that lip service that all these politicians feed us, and he's being held accountable. And Brandon says, like, I don't need to win. I just need people to see, like, all it takes is a long-haired YouTuber to threaten your reign.
Does this sound familiar, folks? I mean, I think you guys already know where I stand, right? I definitely want to just go back to what I originally asked of both of you, which was, how do you deal with relationships in a home, or how do you feel about, separate programming, so on and so forth? Personally, I think I can sum it up. Opposites attract. So really, they really shouldn't be breaking up just because of politics. It's got to be a little bit more than just politics. And by the way, just to keep you guys in the loop, I don't know if you know this, Quinn. I'm actually I'm being vetted right now for the Constitution Party here in the state of Missouri to run for governor.
Oh, nice.
And you brought up a point. You guys brought up a point regarding the Second Amendment. I mean, I'm sorry. Well, Second Amendment, yes, but law and order is what you brought up, Quinn. And I'm going to tell you what, we've got two types of sheriffs in these counties and two different types of police forces in this state. One's either statutory or they're constitutional. Statutory, of course, they just go by the law. They don't go by the constitutional law. And if they were to go by the constitutional law, I'll give you a quick example. If I'm driving 3 o'clock in the morning, speeding on the interstate, and I get pulled over for speeding and they give me a ticket, I'm like, why am I getting this ticket? They say, well, you're endangering the lives of other people.
What other people?
Thank you. I'm by myself. You should not be giving me a ticket. But they give me the ticket because it's, again, a statutory legal law that they can do that with. So we do have to look at our law and order. We do have to look at our guns. I think we have to hold the people second on my list of things, first being law and order, but the second one is the oath of office. Tony Gonzalez is not doing his job. He needs to be ousted. Oh, by the way, I too am a long hair, thinking about that one. I'm loving the opportunity to go out there, open my big mouth, and really slam dunk the the democracy of tyrants. That's all there is to it. The democratical tyrants. The third thing, of course, is education. Do you guys think it's okay for kids to change their gender? Do you guys think that it's okay for kids to dress up like animals, like cats and dogs, Furbies? And do you think it's okay for them to, for instance, a boy participate in a girl sport? How do you guys feel about that in our educational system?
I want to take this one because I have a raccoon onesie. And I'll explain that real briefly, and then I'll get on to my subject. I
We don't have to see you wear it, right?
No.
You're not gonna put
It's
it on.
literally
Okay.
it's just onesie pajamas with that looks like a raccoon. The reason I own this is because capitalism allowed me to buy a raccoon onesie with next day delivery when my coworker got bit by a raccoon and I wanted to chase him across the parking lot at work because that's how I operate. No, I've seen a lot of videos as far as what children should or should not be allowed to do. And would you allow your 10-year-old child to get a tattoo? And everybody says, well, no, that's a permanent decision. You know, they should wait till they're an adult. And then the same person is asked the question, should that person be given hormone blockers and allowed to transition? I do feel, as everything else in this world, it's a much deeper subject. And I don't think we have any scientific backing or proper scientific backing to really support this. I'm okay with my tax dollars going into finding out what makes people mentally tick. I believe everybody's born a certain way. That's one of the things that, Quinn and I do disagree upon. But, we're going to be cordial about it because, again, it's certain things that, for me personally, I don't know. He has a better belief structure than I do and a different belief structure. And I'm not going to criticize him for thinking differently than I do feel that, especially because of my circle, again, I'm the blue collar weirdo. I have friends of all different backgrounds. I have trans friends. I have gay friends. I have straight friends. I have religious friends. I have atheist friends. And at the end of the day, we're friends. And I try to pick their brains and learn as much as I can. But like you said, look, what is it? Leah something. Thomas. Okay.
No longer, by the way, swimming. No longer swimming. They've
well, because everybody. Well, yeah, even the men don't want to swim with that person, and because so in high school I was a pole vaulter, and I did okay. But I'll tell you what, in 2024, if I was a pole vaulter and I put on the shorty shorts, I would have been unstoppable. And I'm not saying that that's the generalization of what people are doing. I do think one of my issues with that argument is nobody gave a shit about women's sports until trans people were involved. Again, the hypocrisy, because I don't give a crap about the WNBA. I never gave a crap about it. I'm never going to watch it because, well, one, I don't even watch the regular NBA. So if
you're either into it or you're not.
If those athletes choose to allow those people, I feel, it should come to a vote. If those athletes, not society, the athletes say, hey, this is okay, then I'll allow it. And also at the end of the day, what the hell is it my say? I don't even watch the freaking sport. So why am I going to spout off on the internet about it? Because it's something I never gave a crap about to begin with.
But the bottom line is this: how do you feel about a girl getting her, like, going into MMA boxing ring, MMA boxing? How do you feel about a girl that gets her head crushed so that she's deformed for the rest of her life by a male? How do you feel about that?
May I have my F word pass?
Okay, can't you just say F this or whatever?
Oh no, that was effed up.
Yeah. Quinn, now going to you. What do you think? Getting back to what we were trying to talk about, the education and the gel. What do you think about the CRT, the gender, and all that stuff?
It's a bunch of bull crap. The only things we should be learning in school is English, history, math. All the basic stuff.
The reading, writing, reading, writing, and arithmetic.
Yes. And you know what's another thing that's bullcrap? That they say, oh, we don't have the funding to teach cursive, but they have CRT crap and all this other new stuff that we would never taught in schools. Yeah, I don't think so. If you got money to bring in more stuff, you can teach how to write cursive. All it is propaganda in our public schools. We need to go back to where schools are controlled by the parents, and and keep defending homeschooling, because we didn't have public schools in the beginning of our country. That was everything. All that normal stuff was taught in the homes to begin with,
or it was taught into churches.
Yes,
a lot of your churches taught. So let me answer. Let me offer you a little insight on the cursive. In 2010, Barack Obama decreed into law to stop cursive in school. Now, do you guys know why they wanted to stop cursive?
Actually, I forgot.
Because of the Constitution being written.
Yeah, they did not want them to be able to read the. They did not want them. They did not want them to be able to read it and understand the Constitution, Articles of Rights, Bill of Rights, and Declaration. Yes. And so they want to remove our history.
Literally 10 feet away
let
from
me
is
add
a copy
something
of
to the
Declaration of
Constitution.
Independence hanging on my wall.
Okay,
that's how I was raised.
So here's something. So here's the Second Amendment. On a website, gives citizens the right to bear arms. That's exactly what it says. And you know what website that is? whitehouse.gov. If you go to hwh.gov, it's a government website, you will see that was that's clearly rewritten in the image of Joe Biden's administration. And a whole bunch of other amendments on there has been rewritten in Joe Biden's administration image. Well, now, to me, if you rewrite the Constitution on a .gov or .us website, it should be treason and should be dealt with.
I mean, I can literally get up. I mean, I can grab the laptop. I can walk over. I can read the Declaration of Independence on my wall.
Yeah,
it's right. It's right there. I'm looking at it. It's beautiful. It's an amazing frame. It's got 2 Glocks next to it. It's freaking redneck utopia.
Well, most people.
Nobody wants to realize, like, okay, we can acknowledge CRT is not acknowledging that we have a messed up past in this country. Like, literally, we're the great experiment. Like, we're just trying shit. We're just throwing it at the wall and, like, let's hope it works.
What does CRT stand for, though, Johnny?
Well, they call it critical race training, which I don't know.
Critical race theory.
No, it's training.
No, it's called critical race theory.
Oh no,
it's not.
I know what it's called. You're training people to hate things that have no. They're training people to hate people that had nothing to do with what they did. So since
it's theory, it means it's not really 1 + 3 = 4. It's a theory. So that theory should belong only in the higher institutions, next to Marxism, communism, socialism, of which none of those have ever been successful as far as government entities. And then you've got democracy, again, which has never been a successful government. It always leads to tyranny. And so thus, therefore, again, I digress. The United States is a republic. We are not a democracy.
I have a question.
Therefore, those types of government thinking should be left to college, but not in grade school.
Look how we were taught about Columbus. Elementary school, Columbus discovered America. Middle school, well, he didn't really discover America. He landed in the Caribbean. And then high school, Columbus was a dickhead. It's like, why couldn't you just tell us that from the beginning?
Yeah, but you forgot someone. Americus Vespucius.
Now let me
Was
ask
South
you guys
America.
this.
And you've got Leif Erikson, 1000 AD, that discovered North America out of Iceland, a Viking.
Look, anybody who sets boats on fire in tribute to somebody, like I'm for them. I think we should bring that back.
That's how I would love to be. I would love to go like that.
I mean, I want to be cremated and put in the shotgun shells just so I can ruin somebody's day one last time.
But let me ask you this. People keep saying that a constitutional republic is a form of democracy. What would you say to that?
It's not a form of democracy whatsoever, because a republic is the people. It is the entire people. It's not a 51% has their way and the other 49 can go kick bricks. You've got to be able to work together to congeal and hopefully come together to where you have a more simpler way of living, which is respectful. Something, again, First Amendment. I asked you earlier, Johnny, let's keep the F-bombs, and you've been very good, by the way.
I know. I am surprising myself.
Yes. In fact, I think I'm going to give you 2 buckets of horse manure at the end of the show. But seriously.
I'm going to trade it for 3 Democratic votes.
Seriously, you've got your freedom of speech. You've got your Second Amendment and so on and so forth. The thing is, a constitutional republic is it's the people that are voting for and making their voices heard for. So I just touched on a subject today with a friend of mine earlier. Very proud to say this. I'm going to have a program on. First off, the 3 branches of government, guys. What are they?
Ooh.
Legislative, judicial, executive.
There you go. Quinn got him. What's the 4th branch of government?
Shit, I just heard this the other night on the radio too.
It's mass media propaganda. It's baloney. Okay.
Well, it's that court of public opinion back again.
Well, again, it goes to not the court of public opinion. It just goes to CNN and so many others that are just lying to us, that are not telling us the truth. Whose phone is ringing?
It's not mine, but
Not mine.
if I may take 30 seconds, I need to go. I don't know what my cat's doing, but I need to get Florida Man in line real quick. So bear with me, guys. Talks amongst yourselves.
That's okay.
And I shall return. I have a very large cat destroying things.
I don't have a phone going on, but someone's phone is going on. Anyway, sorry about that, folks. But the fourth branch, I wonder who that is. The 4th branch, of course, is mass media propaganda. Now, the 5th branch is bureaucracy, the bureaucrats. And these are people that used to be sitting in an office. And back in 1984, the Supreme Court basically said that federal regulations, so on and so forth, they can turn around. Bureaucracy, there you go. They can turn around, and these groups of people get together that are councilmen and mayors and school board members, and all of a sudden they form this little group. And these little groups impose their own laws on, say, the fishing industry. Right now, Quinn, over in the East Coast of New England, in your area, they've got a group called NOAA. And they are getting told that they are not allowed to fish for this. They're not allowed to do that. And I think you know this, living in Pennsylvania. I think you know those windmills out in the ocean are not good for the environment because they are offsetting the whales and many other fish species, as well as out in the fields, they kill many bird species. The big weather vanes, the big circular windmills. Yes, you know what I'm talking about?
I do know what you're talking about. Yes, I just didn't know it was that bad. I knew it
Oh,
wasn't like, the best thing in the world, but
no, it is
wow.
that bad. And so when you've got these little organizations that are telling you how to live or how to or what taxes you're going to have to pay, that you can't fish this fish, you can't do that. I'm working with a gentleman here. I'm going to hope to have him on later on in a couple weeks. There's a it's called MARC, the Mid America Regional Committee. I believe it's committee. And the Mid America Regional Committee are a bunch of these politicians, ex-politicians. And let's just say hypothetically, I have $100,000 home. Johnny, you're a man that has several acres of land in the same
I wish.
county. Well, I'm just saying this. And let's just say your acreage of land is $1 million. My acreage of land is 100,000. These idiots basically allow themselves, believe it or not, to suddenly become realtor assessors, and they're able to appraise property.
Oh,
So they come to me, the $100,000 property, and say, Vincent, your property is now worth $200,000, which means I've got to pay $200,000 worth of taxes. You have $1 million worth of property, but because you're friends with them, they say your property's worth only $500,000, which means now your taxes are reduced. And they're basically
we're talking about unrealized gains taxes here.
yes, but that's called bureaucracy.
Oh, absolutely.
So that is the fifth branch of government. Because the fourth branch we had already discussed, which was mass media propaganda. So here we are paying taxes wrongfully.
It's not just media propaganda. Let's just call it as it is. Liars.
Yes.
Yeah, but you want to identify it because there's so many. There's liars and politicians, bureaucrats, you name it. So anyway, going to stick with mass media propaganda because that's the liar. But the fifth is bureaucracy, guys. That's a fifth branch of government. And they're killing Americans in their taxes.
So does that judge in New York who devalued Mar-a-Lago have a realtor license, a property appraiser's license? Because if that's the case, I will run for a judge in my area. I will win because look at me. I'm fun.
I'll vote for you.
Yeah, I'm fun, and I'll just devalue every property that touches mine, and I'll buy them for pennies. And then guess what's going to happen? Then my not licensed appraiser will say, "Oh, well, now all these properties are worth this when it comes time to sell them."
Yeah.
Or I'll just keep the value low. Because honestly, what they value Mar-a-Lago at 19 million,
19 million.
Okay,
but the banks,
I could get a loan to go buy Mar-a-Lago at that value right now, because any banker that wants to make their money knows that if I default on that loan, they're a billionaire.
Well, I think you're spending too much money because if you're familiar with LifeLock, there's a document where you can just go and own someone's business by getting that piece of document signed. It doesn't matter whether.
Hey. I'm not here to prove Sean Hannity's sponsors to be useful, but yeah, that you're talking about the title lock thing. Yeah.
Home lock, title lock.
Yeah, well, okay. Well, look, if I'm gonna do scumbag things, I'm gonna do scumbag things legally. Moral gray area, we will call it. I'm not gonna steal somebody's title, and especially not Donald J. Trump. That's one man I do not want to upset. And
right on.
I'm not a celebrity person, but I'll tell you what, if I got the opportunity to meet him, it would be an honor. I can't really say that about any other president. Maybe George W., only because I think he became president by accident. He was just kind of following the family lines. But he was a real dude, man. Like, I love George W. as a person. And
okay. How did you like him as a president?
First term, yeah. But then again, this was also before I was allowed to vote, so I wasn't paying attention. 9/11 happened.
Well, let me
So my
let me help
first
you out.
election was re-electing George W.
Okay, let me help you out a little bit. Okay.
Then I learned some things.
There were no weapons of mass destruction.
Well, we know this.
Saddam Hussein did not have any weapons of mass destruction. It was all about oil, and it was
Yes.
for his BP with I want to say Enron. I know I don't have the name right.
No, it wasn't Enron. It was Dick Cheney, and I'm just gonna say words now because it's gonna jog my memory. Crap.
But what I'm getting at, it was all about oil. There were no weapons of mass destruction, and I was old enough to vote for him years before that, by the way. But like his father, they both, like his father, he should have been brought up on charges of treason, and he should have been
I'm gonna
taken
do
out.
what my daddy couldn't do. That's what happened.
Yeah, and therefore that's why I don't like people that are traitors to our country. And I'm going to say this publicly. If you are a traitor to the United States of America, White House administration, Joe Biden, Harris, DOJ, Merrick Garland, DHS, Mayorkas, you all should be hung because you have destroyed America. You are traitors. I keep getting told I can't say that on Facebook, and I keep getting thrown in Facebook jail for printing that. But traitors
why do you think this account, the Sasha Busch account, actually exists?
Well, I don't know. Have you told me that? All right. Why?
Well,
Halliburton. There you go.
Yes.
Thank you, Halliburton.
Yes, which he
Gerald.
wasn't technically in charge of at the time. He was allegedly broken free from that. Because, everybody on this cast right now could go create an account as a fake person, as a fake LLC, and go own stock in a company that they don't own technically and benefit from it. That's all that happened there. And remember, we had the propaganda during World War I, during World War II. Like, there was no television. What you got from the newspaper, you were privileged to be able to touch a newspaper. You think about it. There's so many things throughout history that came from newspaper. Look about the most badass Marine to ever live, Dan Daly. He got denied his third nomination for the Medal of Honor, and they made a freaking law that says, nope, you only get it once. But he became the man that he was based off newspaper. So back to it, propaganda. Hitler used it. Every major regime throughout world history used propaganda. Now we got these stupid things. And yeah, it's funny that they call them smart, but no, they make us dumber. We literally have every piece of information in human history at our fingertips. And what are we doing? We're looking at freaking cats.
But it should be to our discretion of what is truthful, what is not truthful, and how we come to that conclusion, which means we have to be more of critical. We have to be more of critical thinking. And that's the whole thing. Education doesn't do that anymore.
Well, no, we weren't taught critical thinking. We were taught how to obey. We were taught to be smart enough.
I was taught critical thinking. That, by the way, in 1979, when I graduated from high school, the United States was #1 in the world with the educational program. It has since then gone downhill. Here we go. Here we go. Let's see what Don. Don't get me started on cell phones, and he can. In fact, if you go back and watch the cyber warfare, I believe it was last Friday. I believe he really did a great show on that. Don Corleone did a great show on cyber warfare. Get the data to give us that.
Everybody watching,
here we go. Just for me.
Grab your tinfoil, put it on your head, because I fully believe this theory that the overabundance of information today is not actually put in our face for the good. It's meant so we have these conversations where you start criticizing everything, even things that are true. We are now contemplating, is this real? And now we're throwing AI into the mix. Oh, so and so didn't say that. That was AI generated. We have this AI proving software that says it's not real. Or they're going to use AI, make somebody say something, and then, well, our AI proving software says that they actually said it. That's not AI. That's where we're at with our current, like, that's the current psyop right now. It's like we're bombarded with so much information that, like, well, now they're coming from all these like .123 websites, so it can't be true. I mean, I don't care what anybody watching this thinks about Alex Jones. I've watched Alex Jones for probably 15 years. And one of the things about Alex Jones, he's right way more than he is wrong.
Yep.
He was screaming about the island when I was barely old enough to buy beer.
Yep.
Oh, wait a minute.
And
Now
they
there's
they actually thought that he was one big gigantic conspiracy theorist. And you know, that's what I like about Alex Jones. And today, by the way, folks, I made a mistake, the first mistake I made this year. And I can tell you, it wasn't intended to be this kind of a mistake, but it was. And it was all about feelings. And it was all about how a person read a certain email that I wrote. And this is very close to home, so I'm not going to get deep. But at least I can admit when I make a mistake. And that was my mistake. I should have let someone else read my email so they could say to me, yes, you can send that on to another person to receive it. And why do I say that? Because he knows that person better than I. And again, that person misinterpreted, believe it or not, my email. So we can learn from our mistakes when we make them. And yes, Gerald's right. They are already using AI in censoring on Facebook. 100%. You know?
Yeah.
Oh, here's the last link to the show, folks. When you come back to watch this, this is the last link to the cyber warfare. Again, I don't have the date. What's that?
No, I was thanking Don for posting that link.
Oh yeah, it's a great. I mean, this guy knocked it out of the ballpark when it came to quote unquote these things, cameras, these cell phones. Why there's three? I'm sorry, I'm on the wrong side. Why there's three different lenses? I mean, it's amazing. He's an amazing techie guy. He really is.
I just thought they were there to take really good pictures of my cats. I can get some amazing low light pictures of my cats. It gets all the coloring, the spots, the glint in their eye. You can see their murderous intent. It's amazing.
Do you know that all cats have Asperger's?
I mean, Florida cat definitely does. I call him pause.
There's a book. There's a book. It's actually called All Cats Have Asperger's. And this is the reason why. A cat will do the figure eight around your legs, leaving its scent. Everyone thinks that the cat's loving on them. But that cat is leaving its scent. And then you go down to pet the cat, and the back arches and the tail goes straight up, and you think the cat's really loving you. So then the cat lays down on its side, and you start petting the head and the side of it. But the moment you touch the belly, what happens, Johnny?
Murder mittens.
There you go. That's the Asperger's. All cats have Asperger's. So, Quinn,
I guess I have that too. I guess I have that too. Oh,
I
crap.
got
Now I got mental diagnosis. Oh, hell.
So, Quinn, what are you thinking about the last part of this? What's your input on all this?
About the electronics and stuff.
Anything. Just grab a hold of one of these brass rings in front of you.
Well, I'm looking at this world today compared to that's the one. But anyway, over the last 20 years, we've allowed so much to happen in politics because no one really was fighting as if we even knew at all about what was going on behind the scenes. And now we're at where we are at today. And now we're not taking care of the little things in the politics. In fact, in most cases, we know everything that's going on, but not enough of us is fighting against it. The government has overreached. They're going to continue to overreach. You're going to have a bunch of Democrats and rhinos, getting into politics, making money on our expenses. And here's a kicker. Back in a couple years ago, it was Dr. Oz versus Fetterman here in Pennsylvania. And
Oz was a terrible choice, though.
Yes. Well,
he ran on a technicality, even though he had his big mansion in New Jersey, and that's why he got shit on, because Fetterman shows up in his stupid freaking hoodie. I'm for the people, and then became fucking retard. Oh, yeah. There's my F. I got my F pass.
Well, let me continue this.
You were doing so good, Johnny. You were doing so good.
I was doing so well, but you know what? I feel I utilized my F pass on the right person.
Well, let me continue on this one, because you're gonna want to hear this. You have Democrats always for Fetterman, no matter what, and then you have the Republicans saying how bad of a choice Oz was until he won the primary. And rather than looking for a third party, like a libertarian, a green, a constitutional candidate, and I'm sure there was a libertarian somewhere that would have made a better replacement for Oz, they defended Oz instead, after they badmouthed him for months before the primary elections. So we're to the point of where we're being brainwashed into a two-party system, because we're being told, oh, well, if you vote for the third party, your vote's going to be a waste. And it puts fear into people.
And exactly.
And it's stupid. I rather, let me tell you, if Doug Mastriano, fine. I like his stance on abortion, but he did nothing to really fight against anything. But
he stood on that one topic and would not deviate from it.
Yeah.
He did not give any other good that he had to offer the people of Pennsylvania. And he's like, nope, I'm anti-abortion, no matter what. Okay, that's cool. You can have that viewpoint. Like, I respect your opinion, but what are you going to do for me?
Well, it's not just the abortion thing.
Like,
but there's a lot of
all right, guys.
But I don't.
Oh, we're not even arguing.
But here's the thing. But here's the thing that I don't hear enough of, and you can call her impeachment happy or not, but Marjorie Taylor Greene. Every other post I see of her, every other video is, these people need to be impeached. Why don't we ever hear that beautiful language from anyone else in politics, or too many others? Because it's a big game to them. They'll just say, oh yeah, we're going against abortion, but we're not, or we're going against mutilating kids, and so. But from many of the people in the politics, I don't hear enough of the word impeachment, and it sickens me. And let me tell you,
it's all for entertainment. It's literally it's for entertainment. That's all they're doing. They're trying to string along these certain topics to keep us entertained enough. Oh, look, this person hits that trigger topic, and I feel a lot of us get sucked into that, and it's like, well, I'm not a one topic voter.
I gotta throw this out there. I gotta throw this out there to both of you, okay? Because we're about ready to wind down the show. We got about another 10 minutes left. But I've already told you, law and order.
We're going into overtime, homie.
No, we can't. Can't do it. Don't want to do it.
This is America.
No,
We can do whatever we want.
I'm consistent. Maybe another time. Come on back. Anyway, coming back to this, we need to have law and order in this country, in my state. I want to have oath of offices that are being broken. I want them fired, removed, impeached, whatever it takes. Third, I told you guys about education. I didn't even begin to tell you, but gross receipts tax is really a good tax where you don't have to have income tax or property tax anymore. It's just a flat rate, 3%, maybe 5%. Why is that profitable to the people, the taxpayers? Number one, it's low. Number two, you're keeping commerce and trade within the state. Number three, you're going after the big businesses. For instance, Smithfield Farm, meat manufacturing, and Triumph Foods here in Missouri, they are owned by the Chinese. Chinese send 85% of that food over to their country. All we have to do is tax the hell out of them. And the other 15% that's supplying Chicago, Pennsylvania, so on and so forth, and keeps the commerce going here in the state of Missouri is a good thing for the Missourian people and for the country, and in keeping the taxes low. We have got to come together and realize we've got to get back to the foundations, in my opinion, of the Constitution. We've got to start making it simpler. We've got to stop making so many BS laws. And I think if we go more that route, I'm going to tell you right now, I think the country can be saved. But it's not going to be by the Republican Party, and it damn sure isn't going to be by the Democrats at all, because we've lost our country to the Democrats as of today, in my opinion.
And honestly, I feel that the people who are the, rather red than dead people are no better than the vote blue no matter who. I'm guilty of it, because when it comes down to voting day, it's like, oh crap, that's today. All right. Who do I dislike the least? All right. Red. Down the freaking line. And then it's like 6 months later, it's like, oh crap, I contributed to that fucking mistake. Sorry. Second F-bomb.
And the thing is, it's that you didn't think long enough about the person that you're voting for. Both of you, by the way, I will tell you, with what you had to vote for, Fetterman or Oz, I would have been definitely Oz. Why? He's an educated man. He comes from a foreign country. He knows what it's like to be here in America. He loves this country. Granted, the technicality at home. Look at Hillary Clinton. She did the same damn thing in New York.
And so there we go.
But then you look again, you look at Fetterman. Fetterman did not at all. He didn't have the mental acuity. He didn't have a good heart. He's trying to play a part of a working class man. I guarantee you, he doesn't know a Phillips screwdriver from a pair of dikes. Oh, I'm sorry. Never mind. He's a swinger. He does know a pair of dikes. I'm quite confident that. Yeah, you weren't expecting that one, were you, Johnny? But anyway,
you know what? Hey, as from somebody who's probably a little bit further right than I am, that was quality. Like that legitimately hit me in the feels, and I have very little of those. So kudos, my friend.
But seriously, how did Pennsylvania vote for Fetterman? It just blows my mind.
Because oh my goodness, if you saw the meme that I once saw, it was, I don't care if we have to use Morse code. It got to the point down the meme where it says, I don't care if it's Morse code, we would prefer Fetterman over Oz. That's
so
the
people
leftist
who
mentality.
can't read cursive are going to go back into the time of tapping on a button, and they're going to somehow comprehend what's being said. Honestly, actually, you know what? No, I'm sorry. I'm being disrespectful to the disabled. Yes, Morse code would probably be in his favor. Definitely more comprehensible to listen to him beeping on stage like Beaker from the freaking Muppets. than him trying to speak. No, it's the whole like, oh, I'm for the working class. I'm blue collar. It's like, no, you're lieutenant governor or whatever the hell he was at that point, and I'm gonna wear Carhartt. Well, you know what? So does the chick down at the bar who claims she's a redneck or a blue collar, and I support this guy with his big diesel truck. No, you are pandering, and I'm just, I don't care what side of the fence you're on. I'm done with the freaking pandering. And stop with this one topic BS. What are your viewpoints across the board? Don't pander to me. Don't tell me what I want to hear. I want to hear what I don't want to hear. That's why I like Quinn. Quinn tells me what he's thinking, regardless if I like it or not. And I do the same thing to him. And that's why him and I can have these conversations without wanting to choke each other. Like, I want to help Quinn do everything I possibly can so he can better his life and grow his business. Why? Because I believe in him. And I feel, because I'm a constitutionalist, I'm a First Amendment absolutist, I'm a Second Amendment absolutist. He has every right to have his opinion. He has every right to market his opinion. And, the fact that he's right a lot of times should not be held against him just because it doesn't fit the political narrative today's bullshit climate that we live in. Okay, you go to Philadelphia, Quinn's the Antichrist, well, pun intended. Like, no, he's not. He brings you facts, and that was the thing about our phone call is, Quinn, can you explain this to me? Guess what happened? He explains it in a simple term that my drunk redneck brain could understand. And whether I agreed with it or disagreed with it in the end, he explained it. I understood it. And there was no yelling. And like he said,
Right.
He speaks with people who disagree with him because he's not pushy. And I feel I'm a pushy person. Just because the reason I have a couple of drinks in me is I'm very, very sheltered person. I don't like talking to people. I need to have that thing to make me feel better about putting myself out there. And I'm happy that you're allowing me to do that. So thank you. But it's just I'm tired of people focusing on that one thing, or the opposite is so bad. Well, find a middle ground. Quinn and I did it. On paper, him and I should be yelling at each other with protest signs on a corner in some random city, but we're not. I'm wearing his company's t-shirt because I believe in his right to say what he believes, and I just happen to agree with a lot of it.
Right on. Quinn, close it down, brother. Close it down.
Okay, so
and remember to kiss me. Kiss me. Kiss me doing it. Come on, keep it simply short.
Okay, so if you want to support my business, hands down, follow my Facebook page and Instagram and my ex, formerly Twitter, and also go on my website, to which you see on the thing there on the screen, and get yourself a Human Lives Matter t-shirts, and let's work together to end color division, totally end it, or at least at the most decrease it.
There you go. There you go. Guys, good night. I'm going to close out. Give me a moment. Thank you very much for being here. We'll have to do it again.
It was a pleasure. Anytime. Anytime.
Right on. Thank you, Quinn. Stay down, by the way. Stay down in the studio. We'll be serving bagels with caviar and champagne. Folks, these are just two guys. They had a rough road in the beginning. Didn't see eye to eye. They didn't get along. You just heard, in fact, you heard Johnny say they could be right. There was a time they could be on different sides of the street protesting against one another. But somewhere along the line, they found common ground. That's very important because we can all agree to disagree. But we have to learn to do it respectfully. We have to learn to do it keep our passions intact without letting those passions cross the line. They only live a couple of miles from each other. They live in the same town practically, Allentown, Pennsylvania. And I was born in Pennsylvania. And no, I never knew these guys before tonight. In fact, I had wanted to, I did put up earlier a particular quote. I think it was James Madison, but just the same, they found, yes, you said it very well there. They found a common denominator amongst themselves. And what is this? The complimentary and studio snacks donated by Hillary and Nancy. Thanks a lot there, Don Corleone. Served by yours truly, I'm sure. But no, they managed to find a common ground. I'm extending this to Under the Bus admin, Julie. I would love for you to consider coming on this program. I kind of like our little story. I think that it's worthy of, but I really want, I noticed something about your page that made me probably attracted me more than anything was the fact that you wrote, and you did so in bold letters. I am very married. And folks, a lot of these people, you go onto these Facebook pages, they're married, they're single, whatever. This woman was, and a Christian lady, by the way, and a political woman, brilliant mind, I think, in my opinion. But when you see something that catches your attention and you say there's something more there, even when you have a text that went between us, some text messaging, I obviously came off brash, bold, brazen, idiotic, whatever. And I'm proud to say I do that every now and then. It's called being human. And human lives do matter, by the way, Quinn, Johnny. But seriously speaking, we make mistakes. We're all going to make those mistakes, but we have to learn from them. And right now, again, the olive branch is being reached out. Love to get Julie Ringer on here. For some reason, she's a writer, a poet, a mom, loves to cook, an incredible lady. And this would be, I believe I may be right on this. I'm hoping a suburban mother, a suburban wife. Why? Because I can't seem to find that one just yet that can freely speak their opinions and their mind without feeling as though they're going to get attacked or threatened or hurt. That won't happen. I darn sure won't put anyone under the bus here. I've never put any of my guests under the bus. There's been a time or two I thought about it. Nah, I'm just kidding. No, I have. Sometimes it's just myself. But the whole point of the matter is this, folks. Personally, I am a common man with common sense. I'm seeking common ground for the common good of the common denominator, we the people. And if we all start thinking like that and start realizing we can actually learn to live together, regardless of the differences of short, tall, fat, skinny, black, white, green, yellow, purple, whatever. Hey, we got to do it. This nation was built as a melting pot, but it has to be done legally. What we're going to encounter in the next several years, it's like I said, I've got the fourth box I'm checking because it's going to come down to that. And it's sad because we're going to have to protect our loved ones. We're going to have to protect ourselves. Folks, I want to thank you very much for coming out here. It's been wonderful to see these two guys come on. A little bit of rambling here and there, a little bit of posturing, but you know what? It's real. And that's what real America is about. Just two normal, everyday, average guys, three of us, just common guys. And we're just coming together just to have a good time. Folks, I'm going to be signing off now. I thank you from the bottom of my heart voraciously. Come back and see us again. I promise you, never a dull moment. Well, okay, maybe every now and then a dull moment, but we'll try and brighten it up just the same. Later.